my career in Japan's over. Like, maybe this is not gonna happen. It was a Giant scout, and I remember going up to one and be like, hey, I wanna come to Japan. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give this a try. Everyone wants to be SoftBank player. This team is an all-star team, you know? Koshin Stadium. I can't even do it justice to explain the emotion. So I had two really great catchers that I couldn't have asked for anything better. So Koji, we're sitting there and I just got done throwing and he says, you know, if you ever thought about going to Japan, through his interpreter, through Goto-san, he said, you should think about Japan. He's like, they would love you. Big, throw hard. And you know, at that point, it was my third year in the big leagues, so I was like, I want to be here. You know, I'm going to be in the big leagues. So, and sure enough, that year I got hurt, and then the next year I got taken off the roster, and I'm sitting there in AAA and thinking I'm probably done. I was throwing 84 miles an hour.
Really?
Yeah, I lost all my velocity. It got so bad in spring training in 2010. It was so bad. I remember going home telling Jada, I'm done. Like, this is it.
Really missed that.
Yeah. I couldn't throw the ball to the catcher. Chad Moeller was my catcher in spring training that year, and I could barely get the ball to him. I was in AAA right before a preseason game. They were like, hey, I was the older guy. Do you want to throw first? I said, sure, I'll throw first. So I'm warming up in the outfield. Something popped in my shoulder. All of a sudden, first pitch of the game, 99, 100, 99. And I was like, oh, feel good. I'm back. And it was scar tissue that just broke up, and it was probably restricting me. And had a really good year that year. And during that year, Japanese scouts would come into the stands, and I remember going up to one and be like, hey, I want to come to Japan. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to give this a try. It was a Giant scout, and he's like, no, we don't need pitching. And I said, all right, well. Then Hiroshima called, and they called the Orioles, and they said, hey, we would love to purchase Dennis's contract. And the Orioles said, no, we're going to keep him. So then at that point, at the end of the year, I led the International League in saves. I had a 2 ERA. My velocity was back to normal, upper 90s, touching 100. And I asked the team, please don't call me back up. I'm going to go to Japan. And they did. They listened. They said, okay. They let me be a free agent. And then I signed with Hiroshima in 2011. And that was my first year.
So, I mean, all the contract things get kind of confused. I mean, like, you have to be released, or you have to kind of buy out contract?
So they have to pay the team out and buy you out, and so give the team money, and then plus negotiate a contract with you. They can't just transfer what you're making there. Right. So I was making a lot of money for a AAA player, and so the Orioles asked for probably too much, or they just said no outright. I don't know exactly what took place, but I also knew in 4 months I was going to be a free agent. So.
Okay.
My agent told the Carp, just wait, he'll be a free agent, and then you don't have to pay the team. And so I signed a 2-year deal with Hiroshima, and it was new to us, right? Like, my wife and I didn't know. We had one daughter, another one on the way, and get to Japan, and wow, I land in Narita, and I'm just like, where are we, right? Like, it's a shock. I mean, I played winter ball in Mexico, so I've been out of the country playing before, but it was just a different, where now I look back as like, man, so cool. Like, right? Like, first time I get there, and now when I go to Japan, I can get from Tokyo to Fukuoka without anyone's help. I can do it all on my own. I can take subways, I can take trains, I can buy my own flights, I can talk to people. It's such a different, 11 years after, or no, geez, now it's 11, so 15 years later, I always tell people I could survive in Japan right now. But that first year was a shock, and we got on a plane to Hiroshima, and we got to the town, and I remember that night, me and Bullington and Chad Tracy, we went and got dinner. We were exhausted, but we were like, let's go walk around, let's go see what it is. And loved it. We loved Hiroshima. Jada loved it. But that first year was Fukushima, was the nuclear disaster.
Oh, yeah.
So I came home for the birth of my second daughter, Farah. She was born March 10th. And then we woke up from a nap, and it was my mother-in-law said, turn on the TV, you're gonna wanna see this. And I remember watching that, like, maybe my career in Japan's over. Like, maybe this is not gonna happen. But I'm on a plane back to Japan 4 days later, and that first year with all the ups of how I saved 35 games with a 1 ERA. It's still overshadowed by all of what happened in Fukushima, the disaster, having a family there, my wife and I not understanding, is this good? Are we in trouble? Is there radiation? Where are we getting our food? And that was the hardest part, and she worried about that is because we couldn't read the language, we couldn't understand it, and we were just going off of our interpreter and things that she could read online. And then so the next year came back and things were kind of a little bit more normal, and she ended up getting sick by like May. We didn't know what was going on with her. Now we know that it was some heart stuff that she had that was starting. And then I got hurt, and then I came back here to bring her home, and then I had to go back to Japan, and I just finished out that year. I wasn't very good. In 11, I'd had surgery at the end of the season. I was pitching with a sports hernia. Oh. And I told the team I would pitch as long as I could if we were going to make the playoffs. You know, the Carp never make the playoffs, but we were doing okay. And I said, I'll keep pitching, and if we make the playoffs, I'll just keep pitching. And then once we were knocked out, I went home and I had surgery. So the next year, I don't think I was prepared yet to do what I needed to do to get ready for the season. And I kind of showed up in Michigan right away and just like hit the ground running. And I think within a month into the season, my body had just started breaking down. And so I figured after that I was probably done. You know, I finished with like I don't even know what my ERA was that year. It wasn't great, 2 something. And so I got to the off season and I figured baseball might be finished. And then I ended up going to Seibu. They called me and they're like, hey, we think you got some left in the tank. And it was another year outside of surgery, so I felt stronger, went into camp, did really well. I just told this story to the guys. They were gonna send me down because I wouldn't slide step. So Sugimoto-san, the pitching coach, he said slide step, and I had a 0, I had not given up a run in spring training, throwing 152, 153. They were all thinking I'm gonna be the closer. I start the season as a 6th inning long man. So I was throwing in blowouts. They wouldn't let me go in close games, and I think I started the year 20 innings scoreless, and then the closer Oishi blew a few games, and they're like, okay, you're the closer, and I was like, and then I saved some games. I think I ended up winning 10 games, saving 10 games, and holding 10 games or 9 games with a 1.8 ERA, and they said, yeah, you didn't do as good as we thought you would do. And so they released me, and they offered me less than what I was making that year. Oh. And I had one of the better years out of anyone on the team, especially foreigners, besides Esteban Herman. And the Hawks came around and they said, hey, we think that you're a good pitcher, we can help us, and we want to have you come here. And so they gave me a 2-year deal, and that started, you know, my chance in Fukuoka.
So first couple years was tough, especially all the injury.
Yeah, injuries, and then, you know, Fukushima and my wife's health. So first 2 years was off. You know, 3 years were pretty hard. You know, that year in Seibu, they only came. She was pregnant with my 3rd daughter, and she only came out with my kids for 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So I only saw them for 2 weeks that year, the whole season, which was miserable. Right. I'm a family guy, you know, like, so not having them there was hard.
But once you signed Fukuoka, so everything got together somehow.
Yeah, knew one of the guys who I played with in the States, Brian Wolf, and knew of another guy. So I'm a new Christian at this point, and so then the other guy was Jason Standridge, and he was a Christian, and I knew that was like God bringing us together to help me, and just knew I SoftBank, right? Everyone wants to be SoftBank player, and so I got there, and the tradition and the what they stand for, and you know, it's a team of all-stars. You know, you got Machi, Uchi, Imamiya, Yanagita, Hasegawa, Honda-san, Matsunaga-san. I mean, Akira, Nakamura, Shuhei. I mean, you look at all these guys, and I'm like, this team is an all-star team. You know, and right away, I'm going in to compete for a bullpen job, not the closer. I didn't think so. Igarashi had a great season the year before. For some reason, Akiyama-san, I mean, that spring training, my velocity was higher. I was feeling way better. You know, I was in great, coming into that, I really worked hard that off season to come in shape. And Akiyama-san said, hey, you're the closer, and Iga, you're going to be the 8th inning guy. it could have been reversed. I could have been the 8th inning guy, and Iggy, he earned it, he deserved it. And that year, we probably had one of the greatest years for 8th and 9th inning guy. We gave up one home run. I gave up a home run, and they ended up giving up a home run in the playoffs. 120 innings combined. I had a 1 point something ERA. He had a 1.0 something ERA. I saved 37 games, I think. He had, 40 hold points. And it was just like, you got us to the 8th inning, the game was over. And I just remember that season being like, once Iggy goes in, I got to be ready because he's going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go in the game. And it was just, the team knew at that point, they were like, we're going to win. Like, if we lose this, if we don't win the Pacific League and don't win the Japan Series, it's because we messed up ourselves. Our hitters were doing a great job. We had great foreigners. That was Daho's first year. We just had a really good team. Jason Standers had a good year that starting. Brian Wolf got hurt that year. But we just had, you had really good pitching. Setsu was great. Kenichi Nakata was great. Otonari was great. Terry Hara was great. Like, we meshed our clubhouse. It was Maury's first year, and he got called up because Wolf got hurt, and he took off as a young guy, as a 7th inning guy. Iwasaki, Kayama, it didn't matter who was going in the game, but we were in a battle with Oryx, right? And so it comes down.
It's a very last game, right?
Very last game of the season. We're playing winner is the Pacific League champion. And I remember everyone was tight. And for me, I wasn't. We were going to win. I had no doubt about it. But they had a good team. They had Esteban Herman, Willie Mopena. They didn't have Herman yet. Maybe they did have Herman. But they had Willie Mopena. They had Ito. They had a great team. Great lineup. Good pitching with Kaneko and those guys. But we just had the edge. The game was at home. It was in Fukuoka. And, we did everything we had to do in that game, and they get to me in the 9th inning, and I think I hit, and then a wall, and then I hit Ito in the shin, and bases loaded, 2 outs, Willie Mopena.
So that's the question. Do you exactly what happened?
Yeah, me and Willie have had many battles, and I've won every battle. Like, I don't think Willie Mopena ever got a hit off me. It was either a strikeout or a ground out, but it was never, I could just blow heaters by him. And I love Willie. Willie's one of the biggest guys I've ever played with, but he's also one of the biggest teddy bears, like just the nicest human being ever. And he's fouling off 155, 154, and then he hits one up, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm looking up. It hits the dome, right? And I see Imamiya, go, and he catches it. And now there's confusion.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, is it live? Is it not? If you hit over here, it's a foul ball. If it hits over here, I had nothing left. Like, I needed that ball to be an out. And they ruled like, no, it was in this part, it's an out. I was just so grateful that Imamiya caught it. I don't know how that's just amazing how that guy's hand-eye coordination is just beyond anyone. And then we win, right? And then we walk it off. And it was like jubilation and just excitement because we're Pacific League champions. But then it's like we have to get ready for the playoffs. And don't forget, I pitched up until, I think we lost to Chiba in the first round with Seibu. And then, so I'm 66 innings in now at this point. I'm pretty tired. Like, this is my first time where we're actually going to go into the playoffs, but now we have a break.
Right.
We have to wait for 2 and 3 to play, and then we're going to play the winner. It ends up being the Fighters. And I just remember being exhausted. Like, just physically, mentally exhausted. I blow one game there, and I remember after the game, Kobayashi-san, the GM, Gori, international scout, and some of the American scouts take me out, and I'm taking shots of tequila just because I'm exhausted and I blew the game. I go home, and that next day, it's like we have to win, and sure enough, it's a save situation. I go in, I get the save, and then we go on, and then the Tigers. right? And that series was. Then you kind of get a little bit of rejuvenation, like, okay, this is for the Japan series, like the World Series, right? So, my first game there, it's a 1-0. We're winning 1-0 in Koshin Stadium, and I can't even do it justice to explain the emotion. But if you've ever played in a game in Koshin and you're the closer of the visiting team and you're coming in, and it's a big game, like game 2 of the Japan series. The ground's shaking. You're warming up under the underground anyway. You're behind the stands. You kind of hear what's going on, but you can't hear what's going on. It's like soundproof. So when you go into the game, it's like this. I go into the game and it's like, you can't even hear yourself think. And sure enough, Toritani, who has always just hit me really well, early in his career for the Carp, and then hit me really well. First pitch, fastball, ground ball, base hit, and the crowd, and now I'm like, great, because now he's leadoff, so now I got to face 2, 3, 4, and get him out. And 4 was Fukudome, who I've struggled with. So 2, of course, bunt, which is thank you as a pitcher is the greatest gift ever, because you're giving me an out. Like pitching with a guy on first. Sometimes you can make a mistake. Now it's first and second, but when you just I know you're bunting, got the bunt, threw it to first, 1 out, runner on second. Now it's like, whew, I can take a deep breath. I think I strike out Arai, which I've always had really good success against Arai, even when I was with the Carp.
Teammate, yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a teammate. He was already with the Tigers.
Oh, okay.
So I missed him. He left the year before to go to the Hanshin Tigers. So I get him out. Now I don't know if it's runner on third, 2 outs, Fukudome's up, or it's runner on second, 2 out, whatever it was. I knew Fukudome is just patient hitter, good plate discipline, fouls off, and then I just throw him a nasty split, and he swings and misses, we win 1-0. And I remember at that point thinking, this series is over.
Wow.
We're going back to Fukuoka for 3 games. We're gonna win those 3 games. And we did. It was like game 2 we won, game 3 we won, game 4 we won, and it goes to game 5 and another 2-1 game or 1-0 game, whatever it was. We didn't for some reason we stopped scoring runs, and I load the bases up. It was crazy. It's like 4-ball hit, 4-ball, and now I get an out somehow. Maybe it's a walk, bunt, walk. Out, walk. So now it's bases loaded, and Nishioka's up. Ball 1, ball 2, and I'm sitting here like, I'm tired. If we win, I go home. Like, this is the whole purpose of this playing and winning, is like, I get to go home tomorrow. Ball 3, and I'm like, and then I get to strike 1, and then he grounds into the double play. And then we won, and that was Akiyama-san's, last game.
That was also the way the ending of the game.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. Because no one knew. I knew he was batter's interference, runners, because he was running inside the line.
Yeah.
Hosokawa knew it. No one else knew it. So we're celebrating. The ball's being thrown around like it's ping pong.
Right.
And we're just jumping up and down. The ball, and they real umpires, calling him out. And that was it. And that was big because it was Akiyama's last year. His wife had just, passed away,
right.
And he was retiring, and so I wanted to give him that. But yeah.
So by the way, split is when I believe that Nomo-san told you how to grip the split.
Yeah, Hideo Nomo, my first year in Hiroshima, we were in Ichinon, and meet him. Hey, Hideo Nomo, right? I knew that, right, from the Dodgers.
Yeah, right.
So hey, nice to meet you. He's talking to me, he's perfect English. Shake his hand. I'm like, holy crap. He's like, you got big hands. Like, his hands are like gloves. I mean,
really?
His big, massive hands. And he goes, you should throw a split. And I go, guys weren't throwing splits here. A couple of guys threw them that were old veterans, but it wasn't. They were like, oh, it's bad for your elbow here. And you know what? I'm so glad I listened to him, because it ended up being one of my best pitches.
So how did you grip that? You have a baseball.
So he told me, 54 save ball, by the way.
Okay. Ooh.
But he told me,
Wow.
so when you grip it, he said, get your finger on there and then just split it, and now just throw it like a fastball. So I would just throw it, and I would throw it as hard as I could.
So
and it does this, so it's sideways, but so you get the dot, but it drops.
Right.
So I didn't throw it very much with Hiroshima, Ishihara, and Kurasan. Didn't really call it, and then Ginjiro didn't really call it that much, and Seibu was a lot of fastballs. I think that's why I got into a lot of trouble. But with Hosokawa, he said, hey, you're going to throw that. You're going to throw it 0-0. You're going to throw it 1-0. You're going to throw that split a lot. And I still, to this day, I saw Toru when I was back there, and I have a picture in my garage where I work out of him and I hugging. I think it's the last out of that game. It's the Hanshin Tigers game, and I owe a lot of my success to him. He challenged me to not just be this power pitcher, but to think. I trusted him with his pitch calling, and I'm telling you, I could throw this thing for a strike, 2-0, I could throw it 1-0, I could throw 3 in a row, make them different each time. I could throw one for a strike, and then the next 2 can be a little bit lower, and then I can bounce the next one. I have a lot of strikeouts off that pitch.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was because I could throw the fastball up, and then I could throw the split. So it was up, down, up, down. Then guys are sitting there looking at the fastball. I throw first pitch split. They take it for a strike, and now they're like, oh crap, is he gonna throw me another one? Is he gonna throw the fastball? And then I might throw the curveball. And now games that I went into that I had fastball command, and it was good, and a split and my curveball, it would be like fishing in a fishbowl. Right, it was so easy. The game literally slowed down, and it was like just execute the pitch, and it's going to be cake. And that's what it was like. And Toru really challenged me, and I owe a lot of my success to him and even Takaya-san, because he followed in Toru's footsteps after. And I don't know, one year, I think it was 16. Him and I were the best 9. Best combination was pitching catching was me and Takaya-san. So I had 2 really great catchers. That I couldn't have asked for anything better. Toru, who was my senpai, Takaya, we Dokyusei, we're the same.
Right.
So it was just a good combination. So 14, we win the whole thing. I get to go home. I'm exhausted. And then, I got home like November 2nd, I believe it was. Missed Halloween, and it was like, wow, like this is a long season.
Kind of also good things.
Good. So I knew I was going back to Fukuoka. I had a great year, and new manager, Kudo-san, right? So I meet Kudo-san in the off season. He used to have a house in Phoenix because he used to train out here.
Oh yeah. Right.
At Fisher's, and so I go meet him for lunch with our international scout. Got to meet him and meet his family, and sat there and talked with him. And I go into Miyazaki spring camp, ready to go. Still fighting now. Competition still with Igarashi, but Kudo-san did me right, because he right away in spring camp he sat with me in a meeting, and he said, "Hey, you're the closer." And so early on, I knew I'm the closer. Which from the year before, obviously it was probably an easy decision. But Iggy could have been the closer. I mean, if he would have liked Iggy, I would have been understood. I was understood. Like it's the game. What's best for the team. But that off season going into 15, I changed my workouts, and I did something different that I've never done before. It's from a trainer here that works now for the Diamondbacks. His name is Ben Hagar, and we worked on our posture restoration for my hips. Getting my hips in the correct position, so every time I pitch and I fire, I'm in the best physical position to be in. My average velocity went from 152, which I'll do it in kilometers because it's Japanese, right? 152 to 153 to where I got to spring training, and I was already pumping 155, 156, and everyone was like, now for me, I felt worse because it was easier. I wasn't working as hard to throw harder. And so when I'm throwing, I even threw for some scouts here that year because I was going to be a free agent at the end of the 15, and I had a great year. So now scouts are like, we want you to come back. Teams were trying to get me to come back. And I'm throwing, and I'm like, the ball's not coming out. And they're sitting here like, dude, you're throwing 97 playing catch. So I get to Miyazaki, and it's just, I'm blowing people's doors off. I watched some of the games still from that spring training. I remember facing the Giants in spring training that year, and I'm pumping 154, 155, and I'm telling Taka, my interpreter, I was like, dude, I don't feel good. He's like, you're crazy. Your fastball's better than it's ever been. And that year was probably the best Hawks team we had. Besides 17, but even then I still think 15, Daiho was raking. Gita put his name on the map at this point, like he was Yanagita now, right? Like home run hitter. Hasegawa was back. Nakamura was hitting 280, 290. Everyone was just hitting. We were beating teams so bad. I remember we clinched that year on like September 12th or 13th. Early.
Yeah.
Where it got so early that the team was like, hey, you don't have to go on this road trip if you don't want to. And I was like, no way, like I'm going, right? I had a chance to break the save record. I had a chance to beat not only the one for the Pacific League at 40, but I had a chance to catch Fujikawa's son. And I thought, well, I have to try to do this, right? I had such great respect for him. I used to talk to him all the time when I was with the Carp, and he'd always talk to me, and I had great respect for him. But you know, we beat the Lions. We clinched against the Lions in the season to win the Pacific League. And I remember like, okay, I still pitched. I had 41 saves with a 1 point something, 100 strikeouts. But that year we ended up playing Chiba in the Climax Series, and we just ran right through him. We beat him 3 games and went on, and we played the Swallows in the Japan Series, and we crushed them. We won the first 2 at home, won the 3rd game, lost the 4th game, and then we clinched it against. I came in game 5 in Jingu, up 5-0, and it's like that's all you can ask for as a closer, like the clinching game. And you know, it was like Ballantine, 2 of the other guys, stud hitters, and I remember going to the game like, I don't care, it's over. This game is over. Yeah. And I still have that picture of me and Maury running towards each other. That's up in the garage where I work out as well. And then the next day I flew home. So I was really good about win, next day, see you. Like I'm a family guy. I've been gone for 10 months. I want to get home. I'm tired. I want to get to the off season because I know right as soon as I get home, 2 weeks break, start training, get ready for the next year.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're like 15, so you guys won like 12 games or something like that.
Yeah, it was, no one was beating us that year.
Yeah.
We were just, that team was special. And then, you know, I joke with Kudo-san, I said, you know, the SoftBank dog could have been the manager because it was such an easy job. This is my lineup, here's my starting pitchers, here's my closer and my 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guy, go play.
Yeah.
And, you know, we just boat race teams. We were the best team. And going into 16, I felt the same way. We had lost Daiho. Daiho went to the Mariners. He wanted to go to the big leagues, and I totally respected that. You know, I was happy to see him there. I cheered him on.